You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, luchacentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
I can all write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Welcome to another edition of Mass, Mats, and Mayhem. I am your host, Justin Outlaw Harvey. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on social media at MMMShow75. And that over there is at Byron Fever.
Catch it.
You still
right.
I just know to
I
go.
Still did it wrong.
Whatever. Anyway, look, another really boring, dreadfully dismal week of wrestling news. Like nothing happened whatsoever again for like the fifth week. No, it's crazy, Byron. Why is all this crazy stuff happening?
I don't know. I do think though it didn't reach the peak craziness that it could have reached because Ric Flair was unsuccessful in his attempt to die in a ring this time. But there's always, 5 years.
He did not. Okay. I agree. That is absolutely where we should start. Even though, the title of this episode is Triple H getting the book and Flair writing his last chapter. I want to start with the chapter of Ric Flair's book because, first of all, that chapter was written a long time ago. And multiple times at that. Like, Ric Flair's career has ended over and over again. And cutting right to the goods, I will say that, like, the post-match interview with the Shiova one, Shivi one? Tony. The other Tony.
Schivone?
Not Scavone. Anyway, the post-match interview pretty much told you everything you needed to know. Like, I almost recommend if you haven't watched it yet and you're interested, watch the entire thing backwards because the most telling thing of the entire night was like, first of all, they're going to empty the locker room. Everyone's got stuff planned, but Rick is already out in the crowd and there's no getting him back into the ring because like physically that's not happening. Like, when has it ever happened that a dude has just wrestled a match and, rolling back into the ring was a near impossibility when there wasn't an injury? Like, that was just not in the cards. So they did the entire thing on the fucking mat. The whole locker room is poured out, trying to, like, cram themselves into this one little corner. And then Ric Flair is, like, not cutting a promo by any stretch of the imagination. He's just like, yeah, guys, I don't even know what just happened, but I hope you liked it.
I don't think he said that much. He was like,
oh my God.
At that point, he had gotten a paycheck. He had been asleep for at least 10 to 15 minutes during the match. And he woke up to found out he won. I mean, look at the finish. Like Andrade Weekend of Bernie's him into that figure four, into the brass knuckle spot. Flair was probably asleep during the pin. What does he know? And then he's just he's talking about everyone he sees. And then he's like, I'm going to go drink with Kid Rock. Like, that was his big, epic retirement statement.
Well, and technically, that match was a loss for Ric Flair because his shoulders were also on the mat. And he did not get a submission. They counted the pinfall at the end. And both guys' shoulders were down. It was just like, we just have to end it now. But the show ended on time. I thought it was funny, too. As he's walking out, Andrade is like trying to get him to actually hold up the big belt. And Rick is like looking at him like, motherfucker, do you know how much that shit weighs? That shit is like 25 pounds, dog. But finally, he holds off. Lethal comes out. And clearly the guys were just like, man, we should let this go. But also, if we end right now, we can actually end on time and not, lose that extra money for going out of the window. So they cut it short. I wonder if Jarrett came back out too.
I wonder.
So
that belt thing, though, was funny because they couldn't get Rick to hold the belt. Is very and the belt, I'm sure, was some sort of replica. Like, you see how Rick was holding it. It was a very nice replica, but it weighed like a replica so he could hold it. And
you don't think they raided Dan Lambert's closet to get the original one?
I mean,
they said it. They said it was the original big belt from Crockett Promotions.
I don't know, that should weigh like as much as you said.
That's what I'm saying. That thing, the original big belt was like what, a 35-pound belt or something, or a 30-pound belt.
No, I don't think this was the real big gold at all. I mean, just to see how Rick couldn't carry himself on his own 2 feet, and he was holding that thing like it was a piece of paper. For the final photo op. And then I
thought it was the real one because of how fast he got out of it at the beginning. Like he was having a little bit of trouble with the robe, and the first thing he wanted to do was take that thing off. You I can't walk to the ring with this 30 pounds of gold on, guys. Like
maybe
it looked way heavier before the match than it did after the match.
Well, if it was a true, I figured it was some sort of really nice replica that Conrad was trying to make super valuable. So he, the point was get as much TV time as possible, but then also like the second Jay Lethal came out, Rick just threw it on the ground like it was an afterthought.
Right. He was like, I'm gonna hug my mortal enemy over carrying that thing now. I don't care what it means to anybody. Fuck this belt.
Funny.
Look, it was fun. Nobody was expecting any kind of big, I wasn't expecting him to do the turnbuckle spot. I thought for this guy to do this match, it was laid out about as good as you could lay it out. Like everybody else is kind of doing his spots and trying to get the heel heat for it, which was great. Lethal did the turnbuckle spot. Jarrett's doing the strut and doing his version of the figure 4 and stuff. That was all great.
Yeah, Jarrett was the most over and the best worker out of the whole main event by far.
Bro, I almost feel like if I hope to God for his sake that there was a moment with Flair up on the big stage at the end, because the amount of heel heat that Jeff got, like you don't want to carry that into the rest of your life. Like he played it completely neutral at SummerSlam. Big weekend for Jeff Jarrett, by the way. And he was at StarCast the whole weekend. Like, I don't know how he did all of these things, but apparently Jeff Jarrett is just everywhere at once. But
I was thinking, doesn't he have a desk job? What's he doing here in a main event on pay-per-view?
But also, no, but his desk job for WWE is he's the head of live events.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be the man of the people out and about and understanding where having your finger on the pulse of every city that they're taking a live show into, whether it's a house show, TV, doesn't matter. That's Jeff Jarrett's official job at WWE, though I'm sure now under the new regime, he might have bigger and better responsibilities, hopefully for him. Mm-hmm. And WWE was fine with him doing all this stuff. And that's also very cool. So it's just funny because, like, I mean, you want to talk about milking it and slowing stuff down. Jeff Jarrett's ring entrance alone. Holy shit. You want to talk about going full retro heel. Like,
yeah.
Picking real fights with people in the audience, getting spit on, had a beer thrown on him and Karen, like, oh my God, what was happening? Like, I was just like, guys, I hope all the young dudes in the back are watching. Like, if you want to be a real heel, like, forget about what happens on your social media and the t-shirt sales or whatever. You want to go full heel. Jeff Jarrett just showed you exactly how you go full heel. And I love that he walked out on the stage and went right over to Shivani and started doing it immediately, because Jeff Jarrett was smart enough to understand that was his home crowd. He had to heel them out immediately, or else he was going to get some kind of face pop, and he had to take it the extra mile. Like, the match would have been destroyed if he came in with like this medium heel love fest that we get these days with pro wrestling. Like, that was the only way you could do it. Hi, Rebecca. So I just, like, kudos to Jeff Jarrett. He gets the MVP. I hope that's Jeff Jarrett's last match ever, because it was phenomenal for him.
I don't know. If I'm like Triple H and I'm watching and I see that, I get wind of it. And like, you have Adam Pearce still doing a couple, he'll do spots and bumps with his, his on-camera position. Like,
switch it up.
you're wasting. I mean, you can still let him do that, but like, why aren't you taking advantage of what you have with Jeff Jarrett? That guy, he was I still say he was the best worker in the ring. I think.
And look,
so.
I have nothing against Adam Pearce, but if you're gonna have a WWE official being a character,
Right.
I just don't know that Pearce is it anymore. And the way that they've done the storylines has kind of blown it too, where Pearce has been kind of in and out of this role of like having to run it up the flag to upper management past him, to sometimes being upper management. Like it like the credibility of the character of what Pearce is doing doesn't work great. And I'm not saying that you necessarily take him off TV, but if you put Jeff Jarrett and almost like what that Sonya Deville role was for a little while, pure fire. And the way he played it with the whole ref thing was great. Couple other quick things about
the
last Ric Flair's last standing on his feet match or whatever. Instead of last man standing.
He legit said to Andrade, I'm pretty sure he said something to the effect of, I passed out.
Yeah,
and you can see 15 minutes of the match where he can't even get on his feet.
There was a couple times when people were trying to call spots for him or lead Rick, which is also amazing because like when has that ever happened? And Rick was just flat out like, I don't think I can do that. Like that's not gonna happen right here. Like I'm gonna bounce off this rope and maybe do a chop. Like it was a while before we even got a chop and a strut out of Rick. It was like,
yeah,
bro, there's only 3 spots left out of your 10 spots. You got to do those.
He can't even do the strut.
No,
but whatever.
His strut was a little off, but look at it. It was what it was. Like, you know, him and his son-in-law got to do a thing. And I will also say, I thought it was amazing that you had Mark out there, Undertaker. You had Bret Hart out there. You had Al Snow. You had Kid Rock. You had Mick Foley just sitting in the crowd. Like, there's not another wrestler alive that happens for. And you probably had guys sitting at home, you know, mad that they couldn't be there, like The Rock and, you know, some of his other buddies from the Horseman days. Like, and half of them were there. So,
Arn wasn't there.
Well, but you know. There was some representation, and
he was on the card though.
Yeah, he was on the card with his boy, with Brock, right? Didn't he come out with Brock?
It was Brock and Pillman Jr. were having.
Yeah, so he was in back. He was probably at Gorilla helping out. Would be my guess. Brock, you know, or Arn can't help it.
Just sort of like slowly shaking his head. Just that look Taker gave Flair when Flair came by for the photo op, and Taker's just looking at him like trying to make sure he's not looking at a literal dead person.
Hey, this is what you need, Byron. Why don't you get these? Why don't you get these?
Because I don't have like
aces.
I'm too pale.
You don't pander to the crowd. Is that what you're saying? Whatever.
No, man. I look like I'm a vampire.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, and tell Byron to up his game. But you should see his Tinder profile picture. It is amazing. It's awesome. I'm pretty sure it's photoshopped, but that's okay.
What is it?
The job done. It's that one where you have like the tattoos and the muscles. I'm pretty sure it's your face on Kevin Cross's body.
Oh, did you tell Kevin I was doing that?
No, why would I do that? I like you. I wouldn't want to see you get murdered again. Going backwards through the card really quick. Jordan Grace retains. In a 3-way. It was whatever. It was fine. Good Lord. Jacob Fatu, though. Defeated Josh. Look, that it was a DQ, right? That was the finish. But anyway, Jacob Fatu just looking better all the time. I've seen him a few times in the past couple of years out on the indies. Byron, we saw him at MLW, didn't we? He was still champ then?
We saw him at MLW. I saw him at the Circle 6 shows, I'm pretty sure. Saw him at Circle 6, and he had a good match with Cross, and then he had, I think, another one. If I'm remembering right, he had a match with Schlack, who was
the match to see would have been for this would have been Fatu and Cross, but whatever. Yeah. Like if you don't know about Jacob Fatu, he's Samu's son, right? He's not one of the Rikishi kids. He's one of the other guy's kids.
I can't keep track. I'm not gonna.
He's in the Anoa'i family, though. He's one of the He's the next one, and it's amazing that he's not. I mean, like, if I was WWE, I would sign that guy and put him in the Bloodline right now.
Well, if you looked on
like
Twitter,
he would be the U.S. champ, and the Bloodline would have all the belts because he's freaking amazing.
If you went on Twitter, that was the response. Like some of it was this guy's really good. This guy's really good. A lot of it was Court Bauer trying to retweet and get people to look at MLW, but a lot of it was like there's a reason this guy isn't in WWE. What happened? What did he do to keep him out? Because we're like this guy, the way he's performing, he should he looks like he should be there. He should have.
But he also
there.
wasn't this good when he first started that MLW run. Like somewhere in the last year and a half, like Fatu he went to another level. I mean, dude's really, really good. And of course, the real question is how many luchadors does it take to upstage Ric Flair? And in this day and age, the answer is not very many. But if you're going to have luchadors to upstage Ric Flair, these were definitely the four to pick. Fucking Bandito, Taurus, who was Black Taurus again for this one. I never know why they switch all these names, but it's the AAA thing.
I was going to ask what the deal is with that.
I think in AAA he's officially but
you see Justin that way. Okay.
Yeah, you're just you're the platonic buddy. You can stay that way.
Hey Rebecca, send me DM. I might be able to shoot you a phone number.
Wow, I see how it is.
Pointed right that time.
Yes. Anyway, Black Taurus, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. Just phenomenal. This was, and Conan wasn't wrong. Conan's been saying for weeks now that the AAA match was probably going to steal the show. I think he was correct. And honestly, I think they stole the show from his show. I think this was better than the match that these guys were involved with at Triple Mania, Triple Mania Part 2, Part 2. It was just phenomenal. Like, if there's one thing that you need to see besides some of the shenanigans in the Ric Flair match, like the top two things of the night for me were Jeff Jarrett's astronomical heel heat, and this match with the Luchadors. Like, look, I love Lucha Libre, but I don't think that anybody who watched this show would say that there was any other match that came even close to being as good as this one.
Yeah.
It was worth the pay-per-view alone for that. Like, I would pay money just for this match.
That's the thing. And what's up, Goatsy? That's the thing. Like, you would see the Lucha Libre social media accounts, the people who are in the know, like Lucha Blog or Rob Viper or a lot of those guys, and they were all just genuinely happy. And like the overall sentiment was like Lucha Libre is the great unifier. Like, it doesn't matter what type of wrestling show, it doesn't matter where it's at. If you put four great luchadors in the ring, give them at least 10 minutes, 15, however long, they're going to get over, and everyone is going to have a great time watching their match. It's just an objective fact. Objective experience.
I agree. Like, it was really just enjoyable. It was fun. It was exactly what it's supposed to be, and it had the right finish. You had the pseudo Rock and Roll Express, Kerry and Ricky Morton, defeated by the pseudo Four Horsemen of Brian Pillman. Can't speak. Not Bill Pullman. Brian Pillman Jr.
Bill Pullman making a comeback.
Brock Anderson, who's like 24 years old and has less hair than his dad now, I think. I don't know.
He looks older than his dad.
He so does. But you know what? For me, being a big fan of some of Arn's later stuff, it actually makes me like Brock more. Like, I want him to look more like his dad than he probably wants to look like him, because that just sells it for me. And that match was whatever. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was fun. And Ricky Morton basically passed the torch doing the job for Brock, which was cool. Jonathan Gresham, good Lord, poor guy. Jonathan Gresham defeats Alan Angels, who used to be number 5 in the Dark Order, right? Is that right? He was 5. Nick Wayne, who I don't know much about, who he's been around for a while though, and Nick Konosuke Takeshita, who is one of my new favorites this year. And And
it's funny that you said that about Nick Wayne, though, him being around a while. Like, he legally can't even vote yet.
How old is Nick Wayne? Like, I've seen
Isn't he
his name on a
17?
bunch of cards, but recently.
I thought he also signed with AEW. He did.
I heard that he was the youngest person to sign with AEW ever.
But isn't he 17 years old?
I don't know. We'll have to find out more about youngster Nick Wayne, but he put in a decent showing here. But the weird thing to me is Jonathan Gresham goes over because this was kind of an eliminator for the Progress title shot. So Gresham will get the title shot at Progress for this. But Takeshita looked like a huge star, And Takeshita is still relatively new himself, but man, I gotta say, like, somebody needs to ride that rocket to the moon because Takeshita is really one of my new favorites out there, and he looked the best in this match. This match was good for Gresham though, because Takeshita is like right at the size limit of what looks good with what Gresham does. Like, this looks so much better than, having been up against Claudio the last time we saw him. That was just gross. Like, it was not a gross mismatch. It was just gross. Like, it made me feel icky inside. I didn't feel good.
One of my favorite tweets, I didn't watch. All I watched of that show, though, by the way, was the Ric Flair match.
Woo!
But one of my, I was watching the rehearsal. That seemed like, I'm a bad wrestling fan, but that seemed like a better use of my time.
I don't necessarily think that you were wrong. I mean, this is basically a cool super indie show.
But my favorite, what stuck out to me, because I did see like a cool thing that Gresham did, and he looked really good. But I saw a tweet summed it all up. Gresham wore his actual gear for this match and tried because he knew he was going over in 5 minutes.
Right, exactly. And it was a short match, but that was good. It was the right amount of thing for this thing. Davey Boy Smith Jr. loses to Killer Cross, which I'm fine with. And apparently this match got a little bit of heat online. I didn't have any issue with it. In fact, I thought it was better. I thought it was better than I was expecting it to be. Like, it's no secret that I'm not a hater on Davey Boy Smith Jr., but it's just not really my thing. There are matches and times and places for him, I feel like, but I was hoping Cross to draw something a little more dynamic than what I thought he was going to do with Davey Boy. But I like the fact that they threw a bunch of spots. I kind of liked them no-selling each other a little bit. I thought that was probably the best look for Davey in this, or Harry, or whatever the fuck you want to call him these
Smith,
days.
Davey Boy Jr., I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I think on the flyers he was listed as Harry Smith, and then when Showtime came around, he was actually Davey Boy Jr., which might be an MLW thing. I don't know, because I think in MLW he's Harry, right?
I thought he had been for a while, but I think he was able to get his dad's trademark around the time they were going to do the Hall of Fame. Then Harry got signed and then released, which I think they probably only were planning to hire him for.
Well, by the time this match started, they were calling him Davey Boy Smith Jr.
He got the name back. It's like Cody getting Rhodes when he was still out of, not in WWE.
And then what was probably the second or third best match of the night was actually the opener of the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley versus the American Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards there. I think I missed the other, the Dim Boys match somewhere in there, but it's whatever.
It was a cool show to get a bunch of people in front of a big crowd and a bunch of people involved in a WrestleMania weekend type event, and also to get kind of a very Forbidden Door type, a real Forbidden Door.
And this is the way that I hope super shows like this go. Like, look, all these companies do not have to play nice with each other from day to day, from week to week. But when it's something special, like when Impact did that 20th anniversary thing, or when you've got something like this where it's Flair's last match, it's out on the indies, it can only help. It's on the big weekend of another show. Like, it's nice that the companies work together. And literally almost all of them work together. You had AAA stuff, you had MLW stuff, you had Impact stuff, you had some AEW people out there with Shivani doing commentary, especially, and pushing AEW hard the whole time. You had Jarrett there, who WWE kindly let do it on the weekend that he's doing another big thing. And it was already announced. I think that his angle with Ric Flair for the weekend was already booked before his SummerSlam thing.
Probably.
And it was this was all while Vince was still in charge too. So this was like okayed by the big boys. Like this was no fluke. This wasn't Jarrett going rogue. Like he was allowed to be there. They didn't mention WWE very much. And you would have thought that for use of Jarrett, they would have, wanted him to plug WWE a little bit more, but maybe they also, it's like they're the top dog, so they can let their guy go and do the thing without, a big thing. Plus, there was a lot of messages from major WWE talent that were coming out through the night, and the fact that Taker was there. I know Taker gets a bunch of money to come to these things and sign, and I'm pretty sure he signed at StarCast for like $200 an autograph or something ridiculous again.
Yeah, but there's a thing where Vince wants him tight under a legacy or whatever alumni, whatever contract, and Taker was signed for a Conrad StarCast appearance at like WrestleMania or something, or might have been up with the AEW Big Show, and Vince pulled him.
Right.
However, he could legally. I think that's when he signed him to like another bigger contract with that exclusivity. And so, yeah.
Well, and I wonder how people are getting around some of this stuff now. Like you see Natty is doing a bunch of YouTube and this, that, and the other stuff and monetizing, but she's doing it under Neidhart. She's not using her WWE stuff. And honestly, to me, all these performers should be allowed to do that. Like if you're doing it on your spare time, you're not using your gimmick name, and I believe that isn't what's his face New Day guy doing that as well. Like for up down down, he uses his other gimmick or his real name or something. Creed? Like a lot, yeah.
I mean he's been doing it for a while. He's been establishing and just working towards
to the point where they mention it on WWE,
brand.
But it's not a WWE product, right?
Right, but I mean, up down down became WWE, but Creed is also doing G4 stuff. And he's one of those talents that has the leverage. He's
Agreed.
incredibly smart, and that was like always known and always given to him.
And WWE should realize too that it doesn't hurt their upside. Yeah, like if people are out there messing up their kayfabe and blowing their gimmick to a certain extent, yeah, there's some issues, especially if they're using their fame as WWE people and their gimmick from WWE to get over on their own. I get it. That's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they're not going to get t-shirt sales or something like that. But if one of them has a TikTok or I don't care, an OnlyFans, whatever. Now, look, there's moralities clauses too. So they can't necessarily mess with that and shit. Natty's YouTube alone might offend some moralities clauses with her sister. Jesus Christ. It got JR all riled up.
Oh my God.
I'm hoping that there's a new world that we're going into with some of this stuff, because like either we need to go back to kayfabing harder or we need to let it go. But the in-between thing that WWE does with a lot of their performers, I find to be silly. Now, that being said, I also don't really like it when after a match you see, people in AEW who just like fought and bled all over each other, hugging and hanging out and whatnot. Like I get it, but at the same time, guys, come on. Like, if there was a Ring of Honor thing with handshake at the end, it would make sense. But it's like, no, your feud is still going. There's all this raging heat. Like, you probably don't want to blow your kayfabe immediately with a picture of you guys hugging and sharing milkshakes backstage, bleeding on each other. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But whatever.
Yeah.
So Triple H took over the book this week, Byron. You saw it for real. Triple H,
which
Paul
book?
Levesque. He took over the booking book, the writing of the thing. Basically, Triple H is not the most powerful guy in wrestling, but also somehow is, because Stephanie and Nick Khan are combined together to be the most powerful guy in wrestling right now. But Triple H is the guy writing the thing or telling the writers what to write for the thing. And it was real clear going into SummerSlam. We're already starting to get signs of it. I think we said this last week. If not, Riddle is not hurt. That is a work.
That was a work for all of 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And then the real thing came out.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, even the second it came out, I already felt it because there was already we already knew from people that Triple H wasn't really mucking with the television Vince had written up to SummerSlam, but that he was taking SummerSlam and rebooking it. He wasn't going to change everything. Like he left Ronda stuff alone. He left a lot of stuff alone. I think he left Roman and Brock alone. But he was going to change some other stuff. And clearly, I think I said this last week that, Seth Rollins losing repeatedly at pay-per-views was not entirely to his liking. And it doesn't mean that Seth isn't going to lose, but he clearly saw a different direction for Seth being one of them. But as you get into SummerSlam, you saw another very interesting phenomenon. Like, there was an amazing package for KO.
Mm-hmm.
KO doesn't have a match. KO's got nothing to do with SummerSlam. But there was this package that was just awesome, reminding you, like, hey, motherfucker, this guy was a champion. Like, this guy held the company down at very crucial spots when Roman Reigns was not getting over at all, when he was getting the total meh heat, when everybody just wanted him to be a fucking heel and he wasn't yet. Like, think back to those days, because if you think back, like, KO was holding it down, bro. Like, he was working. He was putting in work. Even during Jericho's last run, like, KO had some very pivotal stuff, and it was a great reminder, because I'll be honest, I fucking forgot. This is one of the things that I think WWE does well, and Triple H was like, hey, all you guys over there culling through all that footage and everything, can you, like, put together something that makes my boy KO not look like a piece of shit, please? Like, just go make a package. Like, you guys are sitting there doing a bunch of packages. I don't care about that one. I don't care about that one. Go do me one for KO. One of the other non-match related things that we saw immediately, and we even speculated last week, like, we didn't know if this was going to happen or not, but Max Dupree back in the mix. 100% in the mix, leading his stable, getting full vignette time. I don't know if that stuff was produced before Vince left or if they just whatever, but it was full on Max Dupree back with his gimmick. That you saw promos on SmackDown, you saw stuff at SummerSlam too, and he did not have a match. What was the other one? There was one other one where somebody else got Charlotte. It was Triple H saying Charlotte got a huge package during SummerSlam. That was basically, to me, it was like Triple H being like, oh, so y'all think my NXT kids aren't going to fucking run this place? Fuck all of you. Mm-hmm. Like, not only am I bringing back Bayley with Dakota Kai and Io Sky, Shirai Sky.
Io Sky.
Which is so funny that they brought her back like that, because that felt like such a Vince thing of like, oh, we need to make her sound more American or something. I don't know what this low Sherry is.
I mean, I don't know. It's like close enough, I guess. They own the trademark now.
Well, it's whatever. It's a good sign for her, because normally when they slap a big brand on you like that, like you're going somewhere. Though you might not have known that from watching Raw. But so SummerSlam real quick. Bianca Belair defeats Becky Lynch. Solid match. Becky shakes her hand afterwards, gets the face turn. This was the only way this could be handled. You couldn't just make Becky go over all of a sudden. It wouldn't have made any sense. This made a lot more sense. And then that's when you get the Bayley return with Io Sky and Dakota Kai. And that's Triple H surprise back to my kids number one for the night right off the bat. And it made perfect sense. And then on Raw, we even get Becky full on going back to the man. She's no longer big time Bex. She is the man again.
Yeah, which is great. Now it's so much more organic, where you take your big stars and you put them like with the current, that's what
it's not. I mean, look, to me, it's like from what I understand, her merch sales going from the man to big time Bex dropped like 90%. Why the fuck would you want to do that if you're Nick Khan or even Vince McMahon or anybody who was there at the time? Like, I would have seen that and been like, yo, dudes, we got to hot shot this back the other way immediately. Like, there's a whole bunch of people that are running around naked without a shirt on right now.
Well, to be fair about that, I don't know how legit this is, but I heard some rumors that Ric Flair took the man back. And now Ric Flair is back on good terms with WWE. And so Becky has the man back. I don't know how true that is.
Maybe.
I could see.
All I know is t-shirt sales are going to go up. The storytelling made sense. If you were going to hot shot her back the other way, this was a great way to do it to me. Dear Lord, did you watch Logan Paul? Please tell me you watched this fool.
I saw one spot. I saw the spot of the match.
Dude, I had people in my meetings today that know that I like wrestling. All they were asking me about was Logan Paul. They don't know anything else about wrestling. I had complete non-wrestling fans talking to me about Logan Paul at SummerSlam. And this is the reason why, from what I understand, that they decided to go face with him in the first place at the end of WrestleMania, because Miz was the one who was like, no, I can't do a face turn on him because even though he's hated for this whole internet shit, like, the kid is putting in so much work, and that's all Miz would talk about. Like, dude, he would just tell people, like, with a few short weeks, this kid is as good as anybody in this company. And maybe he doesn't know everything and like how to work a match fully, but like physical presence, check for Logan Paul. Like, I don't care if you like the guy or not, but I was impressed. I was super impressed with Bad Bunny. Logan Paul literally is better than people on the main roster, and this is his second match.
Yeah.
Like, for real, better. He might be better than Dominic Mysterio was for Dom's first 6 months on the main roster.
Okay, let's be real. How good is
I'm not kidding.
How good is Dominic right now?
Dominic is skill level wise, he's a B minus, maybe a C plus. He looks like exactly what he is in the ring, which is a guy coming up who's got a great opportunity. He's not blowing the opportunity, but he does not look polished. He's got a little more time to go, and it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that he has to be. Like, I'll pay money to you put Dom in a headlining event with a storyline that makes sense. I'll watch it. I'll pay for Dominic Mysterio. I think they've done a good enough job making him the heir apparent to Ray's throne, and I hope they do a heel turn with him. I'd like to see father versus son before he goes out. I'd like to see before Ray goes out, that is. And I feel like it's still head direction, maybe with Judgment Day as a way to combat Edge, and then you get maybe a little Ray and working together to save their legs a little bit versus the Judgment Day with Dom. I'd like to see it that way. I think that's a good use of everyone's time, especially during the Monday Night Football battle where they know their numbers are going to drop. I think it's a good main event program that they can get 2 or 3 pay-per-view cycles out of if they do it right. You let Edge do this first one, then you turn Dom and, let Ray get involved. And Ray is already kind of telegraphing it a little bit, specifically mentioning, that him and Edge used to be tag team champions. Just to saying that, me and Edge have something against these guys. It's him specifically referencing other parts of their history that I feel are going to lead to them tagging together. You'll start with some 3-man versions with Dom and Edge and Ray, and then hopefully you'll get the turn. Whatever. But I would say that if you put Logan Paul versus Dominic Mysterio right now as a match, like 3 weeks from now, Logan Paul would look more crisp and more polished than Dom. Now, Dom would probably still be leading the match. Dom knows more about wrestling. He knows more about ring psychology. There are definitely things that Logan Paul does not know. But when you're talking about doing the actual moves, somebody in there, carrying him with the lead, this kid, they should really look at trying to find a way to pay him some money to stay around a lot more. Like, if he can really learn how to, dude, he's better in 2 matches than Ronda Rousey was after 2 months full time in the company. Easily.
Yeah.
And she is an athletic beast, but it took her some time, and I want to get to her too. But
yeah, she's also like a great respectful fan of wrestling. despite all the heel heat that she gets in and out of the ring, I think she just knows how to work. In addition to she has a certain personality that whatever, but she is, I think, really respectful to wrestling and has been a fan of it for a long time. But her big match with Triple H and Stephanie and that big WrestleMania match, that was like Hogan Warrior, where they practiced it in a warehouse or something for like months and months and months, and only that,
And she did good doing that.
It was a great match, but like that's not the Logan Paul, Logan Paul sort of experience. He's being trained to be a wrestler, and he's showing up and doing the match that he's booked in, sort of thing.
Look, the simple fact of the matter is Miz is right in everything that he was been saying to people backstage about Logan Paul, which is, don't get it twisted. This kid is putting in the work. Like, we have to respect that this kid is putting in the work, because he's going to bring eyeballs and he's going to make all of us look good. So we owe it to him to make him look as good as we can and to let him try some stuff. And I mean, he did Charlotte's moonsault to the floor. He did probably the best frog splash I've ever seen through the announce table.
I saw that. That was amazing.
We've seen some great elbows from the top of the post, but from the ring post to and through the table with frog splash that lands correct on the guy, safe for both dudes, absolutely picture perfect. And it's fucking Logan Paul. Like, I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, what? I wasn't expecting that shit.
How do you practice that? How do you practice that jump?
He's literally been practicing jump, and he's got 2 videos where you see him doing a bunch of those kind of jumps and frog splashes and whatever. It's like, okay, I'll give it up to the dude. I don't know where he got it from, but this is why these brothers took something, both of them, and took nothing and made it into something pure. Like, I don't care what anyone thinks, but I still got heart for me. Like, I have respect for that. Like, I don't necessarily like everything the dude's about. I don't like everything the dude has done, but this is a guy that 10 years from now will 100% be able to say, I did it my way and I put in the time. Like, if he keeps doing this kind of stuff, whether it's boxing or MMA or wrestling, he's shutting people up and proving them wrong. It's pretty amazing. Let me talk about Ronda real quick, because, the word going around is that Ronda wrote all this. Ronda came up with the whole Liv thing. She wanted Liv to get the belt. They gave her some choices. They kicked around a lot of different creative, and she was happy to do this thing with Liv. She wanted a slower burn to heel that made sense. She did not want to be hot-shotted. She did not want to swerve and turn all at once. It has been a great slow burn as she's kind of slowly relinquished the crowd to Liv in this whole thing. And it was her choice to put Liv over. And I will say this, in speaking about like kind of what Ronda Rousey has been able to do, match was good for Ronda, especially because Liv actually worked to Ronda. This is one of the first times I think that I've seen Ronda lead the majority of a match. Liv was doing it a little bit. Liv had a couple of spots, but Ronda, this was really a Ronda match in Ronda's style. Liv was even doing the body shots and the punching style that Ronda does. Like, and this is how you make wrestling better, is when wrestlers start to take on new styles that other people are bringing in and new things that are interesting. Ronda's been having to try to get her shit in, so to speak, for the last, couple of runs that she's had, where the other girls all came up in it together. They have a set thing that works. The agents are agenting the matches that way. And then Ronda's got to kind of go along with that. Again, it's part of the reason why we've talked about Marina Shafir isn't working in AEW. She doesn't have anyone there that can help her hone her style. She's got to learn the other thing. Ronda is now finally to the point where, because she's doing someone else a favor, she's bringing somebody else up. She actually, for the first time ever, got to work a Ronda Rousey match. That was actually the first worked Ronda Rousey match in her style, with her techniques, with her things, selling her story. And come to find out, Ronda Rousey actually knows how to tell a wrestling story in the ring with her body, with her moveset. She has the wrestling mentality. She just all along wanted to do it this way, and she wasn't wrong. She just didn't have a dance partner. Liv Morgan 100% danced for her, danced with her, was thankful to her for having the belt. Like, all the Liv Morgan shit you hear about her is also true. She's not the greatest wrestler. This isn't a long run. she's not destined to stay at the top. This is her moment in the sun, but I love how she's playing it. I love what she's doing with it. And I love that Ronda is the one to champion her and give her a chance and that they're working together. This is what wrestling needs. It needs workers working together sometimes. Any thoughts on Ronda?
No.
Or Liv? Are you happy with Liv as the champ?
I guess. I mean, good for her. That's a thing. Good for her. WWE does this sort of stuff, which is cool. And they definitely made it work. They made it count. She's not really the champ, like with all these talents coming back. She is the champ, but she's earned her spot and she's earned what she's going to get out of it. But I mean,
I think it's good because this is showing that she has earned a spot.
She's
not just an afterthought anymore. She's not going to stay at the top of the card, though. Like, she can't. She's not a top of the card person yet.
It's a great moment. And definitely, I was really happy that she won. And it's great she got a defense and all of that. And she's earned it. And it's, and the storytelling, character work, WWE, it's the best in the business. And when they are focused and they want to be. And so it's all working. It's great. But I also see, like, and I may be getting Raw and SmackDown mixed up, but I see like Bayley, Io, and Dakota Kai coming back, and all three of them individually all three of them, I'm not saying deserve, but have put in the work and established a credibility to them for themselves that would
all of
give
them have
the
more credibility than Liv.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Liv earning some of that credibility right now while having the belt. And it's a good thing for her. Like, the timing was good for her that she got in there when she did, because I would see that clearly Triple H would want to invest the rub into people that already helped him and that he invested in. Why wouldn't he? It'd be stupid not to.
I've always liked Liv, and I've been able to see her in dark matches where she, like against Athena, where she can actually wrestle, doesn't have the TV or producer constraints on her. She can work. She's been trying hard for a long time. It's just, and I was super happy that she won, but it's just for me, after SummerSlam, the timing is off. It's like, okay, I was excited for her, but now I'm excited for other wrestlers who I think should get time at that spot on the card.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of getting time, Usos beat the Street Profits. It was another great match. FTR and
they had another match. Why are they having another match? Sorry to interrupt.
That was the SummerSlam match. Was Usos Street Profits?
I thought we just watched them have another.
This was the one with Jeff Jarrett as the special referee.
Jeff Jarrett was not in that.
Yes,
I didn't see it.
Jeff Jarrett was the special referee for Usos versus Street Profits, which is fine because it feels like they ended the whole thing. But now you've got Roman Reigns coming out on over Brock, which, look, if Brock was going to take the loss, boy, you want to talk about, show me our pin if I'm going to take the loss to you? How about we pile everything in the arena on you so you can't stand up, and we'll call that your loss? Like, that's the best way to protect Brock Lesnar a loss you could possibly come up with. And the tractor thing with upending the ring, like, I'm never going to say that Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns at this stage of their career are top workers or that work rate is the style that I like to see or whatever. But there was a thing about that I didn't find enjoyable. It was exactly what you would want, and it felt bigger than WrestleMania to me.
Yeah,
I thought it was perfectly done. I don't know if some of the adjustments that Triple H made at the last minute helped it or not, but it was great. Now the question becomes, what the fuck do you do with all four of these guys? What do you do with the Usos and Roman that are holding up all the goddamn belts? What do you do? And that was one of the other packages, by the way. They did a whole package on the U.S. title on Monday, which was great, leading into a U.S. title thing. I like that they're elevating the belt. That is super smart, especially if you're going to have Roman holding up this other belt. You got to make the IC title and the U.S. title mean something. But what do you do with Brock now, who clearly is pissy but playing ball, but also he had a lot of money on the line, so it's not surprising that Heyman or whoever was able to get Brock back in line very quickly of like, hey, bro, if you really want to forfeit like $12 million, you go on ahead and just stay walked out. Or you could turn your ass around and come out here and perform for us because we'd love to give you some money. Which whatever. I kind of there. I'm just curious. I don't know what you do with those guys. All right, enough WWE. AEW, we got it about just a couple of things. I don't want to go through everything, but
I do want to say quickly, WWE, that stuff that I've heard, and first of all, everyone has seen the report that Sasha and Naomi are resigned and coming back. That's great news. I think it was kind of inevitable. I don't think it would take
I would bring Sasha back. I would leave. I would not have brought her back. I know why it's happening, and I get it, but I would have left her gone. I don't think they.
There's really nowhere else for her to go. We've talked about it. I think we're not the only ones who see Tony Khan doing great stuff with his team in AEW, but also like just living on the edge of being like overextended.
Well, and I get that, but I'm not even saying that. Saying that I don't believe it has nothing to do with AEW or where else she would go. I don't believe she's a good fit for either of those companies. I think she's a little bit, and not a lot, but I think she's proven and she's shown that she is a little bit of poison in the locker room. I get why she took a stand, but I still agree with them that she did it the wrong way. I don't think it's the first time. I know it's not the first time, and it just rubs too many people the wrong way. And again, like I said, I want to see these people and dance like Ronda and Luke did. Like, these are people that I'm giving my money to by supporting various things, and I want them to perform a certain way. I don't see Sasha doing that anymore. I don't think that she can. I think ego has taken over too much. She's a little too butthurt about stuff. Now, maybe because it's AAA, maybe she will go in there and suck it up and do the right thing. But I will just say that for me, the jury is still out on her.
Yeah.
Not for Naomi. Obviously, Naomi's going to go back and play and do exactly what she's always done. She's a good egg.
No one's ever said a bad thing about her.
No,
I think just the whole AEW company may not be able to handle Sasha as a star in her presentation, and then also as a talent that requires attention and care and whatever the nice ways you say of how it is.
Right, but I mean, so then she's Braun Strowman, like, because Braun isn't desirable for AEW, and WWE didn't want to pay the money anymore. So then, he's just going doing his own thing somewhere else altogether. I mean, I feel like Sasha was in that realm.
I think Sasha's a much bigger star than Braun. I think Braun, if his star shines brighter than Sasha, I think it's been for a much shorter, less proven time.
Braun sold some pay-per-views that I don't know. Sasha's been in some big matches and some big moments, but I don't know. At the height of Braun Strowman's career, there were a couple pay-per-views that, like, he sold it. Like, he's the reason you watched.
No, he did.
I don't know that Sasha had that moment yet.
But she did with NXT, and like had a main event in a big stadium on an NXT show that was piggybacking WWE shows. So that it's apples and oranges sort of thing. But I also look like, Braun, when he was getting hot, he looked like he was the guy to beat all the top guys, and he was supposed to, but I feel like they kind of messed up his credibility in the show.
Yeah.
But
also I feel like he's a guy that's going to come back one of these days too. Like, I don't think we've seen the last of Braun in WWE.
Hopefully he needs to be able to pay bills, and he has that talent. And but I also think, as far as Sasha being difficult, you have Triple H and you have other people like Paul Heyman is back in the system, and he's helping everyone out in the top of the card, like Ronda. When Roman, I'm sure we talked about this, but like when Roman turned heel, Vince said to Heyman was, make it work, and Heyman made the whole thing, and he made it work. And like this is like a wrestling genius that we've seen him excel in some areas, and he's very specifically given a responsibility, like top of the card type talent and put them on a path for success. I think all of that, maybe Sasha gets access to them, or maybe it all just leads to a culture of you're coming up with ideas and you follow through with them. So the talent, when they become tag champs, it feels like they're tag champs, and they put work in to invest themselves into the character and the story, and then something can come of it, and they could do something and get their turn, and then someone else could be tag champs. But it's not like you invest. What happened for Sasha and Naomi was they invested everything, became tag champs, and then were told they were just going to be like jobbers for the champs. They're there to put the champs over. They weren't doing anything with their own belts. They weren't. It didn't make sense, and it was very, very deflating. So I think that culture is going to change in WWE. I think everyone thinks that. I think everyone is seeing that. And, the decisions creatively could be whatever. You can agree or disagree with them, but they're going to be a lot more consistent and coherent, which means a lot, I think, to a talent.
We'll see. I mean, and I get that. But also, like, it's the WWE. It's always been that kind of rodeo. Like, you got to learn how to ride the horse. And I think that she rode the horse poorly. And it's just my opinion about it. It's not that I don't think the new environment will be more conducive for her, but I don't think that she deserves that necessarily. Like, fuck her. That's just my opinion. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it was an easy environment to work in. I'm not saying she wasn't getting the raw, but I'm saying it's been like that for a long time. It's not necessarily right. It is going to change now, but her reaction to how wrong it was before hurt her. Like, even Max Dupree didn't do it wrong. Like, the dude didn't walk out. He did everything they asked him to do. He put in his 2 cents. He spoke for himself. He told McMahon exactly what he thought about something, but he didn't threaten to quit. He didn't hold up a match or fuck up a TV card that was already timed out. Like, this is the shit that you just don't do. There's too much riding on the line. Like, so you're going to fuck up everybody's money. You're going to fuck up how this whole is timed out. You're going to fuck up the sponsors' commercial breaks because you don't like what we told you when you came in today. So you're just going to fuck up the whole night. And like, if you want to walk out on Tuesday, walk out on Tuesday. Make a stand, put your foot down or whatever. But if you come in on Monday, they got something bad for you for TV, and you're pouty and pissy about it, and you fucking walk out, fuck you. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to go out there and do something really, really bad. Or maybe you go out there and go into business for yourself a little bit. Like, you shouldn't go out there and do a spot where you think you're going to get hurt or something that's going to be offensive to your nationality or something, whatever. Yeah, there's certain things that but no, she didn't like that freaking Nikki ASH and somebody else were in the match and that they were jobbing out for the real champions. And like, you had creative differences for a day that you were being disrespected.
No, it wasn't just that match. It was, they were, as tag champs, they were both being fed to put over the single champions as opposed to having their own. And it's like,
I get it. And that's the straw that broke the cat's back that night, because they were put in an angle purely to start angle for other people. They were completely the afterthought, and they were looked at as being at the same level as like Nikki ASH and Willow or whoever was in that match. Who not Willow? Doudrop. They were being looked at as they saw as, okay, so you're basically saying we're at that level with those guys who, and you keep making us work with them, and like, it's not even working. It's nothing. I get it. But that's still just not the way you handle it. Like, look what Mox did. Look at all the shit that Mox put up with for years. He went in there and he said his piece, and then when it was time to leave, he just made an exit. He made a choice. He was like, yeah, it was great, but it wasn't my thing, and I'm going to go try to do my thing somewhere else. That's how you do it.
Yeah, but I think you also look at people like Stone Cold and Brock who have done similar things. Stone Cold, he says he regrets it, and Brock got talked back into the building. But I don't think it's the right thing to do. But I also think sometimes, especially not Naomi, but with Sasha and her personality, she was looking, I think, kind of to kind of, try and pull, like, I'm a big superstar, trying to see how much weight she actually carries backstage and all that, or like, at least giving it a shot to like try to have the same kind of pull that Stone Cold did. Because also, like, if you don't act like a star, no one's going to treat you like a star. And, that's kind of, I think there's an element of that, like, I'm
I
not
get
being
it.
respected.
I get it. But
And we both have worked with talents in TV shows who are kind of, there is a childlike aspect to it. We're like, oh, I'm not getting the respect that I feel in this situation, so I'm going to
But there's
cause
ways to do
a
it too,
problem
and
somewhere else.
there's ways to be a difficult talent, and then they're screwing over the rest of the boys in the back and girls. And the way that she did it, I feel like, look, you put an episode in jeopardy of a 3-hour show that not just a few people worked on, like 300 people worked on, and some of those people are your friends, and you put that in jeopardy. That's what you don't do. That's not okay. And it's okay to be pissed about it. It's okay to be up in somebody's face about it. It's okay to demand certain things go a different way, but you can't just screw over the show because you don't like it. It's not the way it works. Like, think about it. If you're a director of a movie, Byron, and you cast somebody and they don't like Bert all of a sudden, they don't like a rewrite. Yeah, they might be prissy. They might storm off. They might screw over. But if they blow a whole day of shooting, like while you're on set and everything's already in motion and paid for the day, fuck that person. That's what Sasha did. And that's what's not okay to me.
Yeah, I look at what she did a little differently. I look at, like, the whole circus backstage at WWE is used to that kind of things changing over. And I'm not saying it didn't put them in a tough spot, but I think they're in that spot of rewriting the show.
I think when the top guys were doing that shit at WCW, it was bullshit there too. And I think a lot of workers would tell you that straight up, of like,
no, but I think
that happened there when people would be pissy and try to change shit like 20 minutes before TV was starting, that it was bullshit. It was. And people threatening to storm out or no showing. And like, the culture in that locker room was ridiculous too. And I thought we had finally gotten past that shit. And Sasha did that. She tried to top guy it and pull the same bullshit that Hogan and Nash and other people used to pull over at WCW. It's bullshit. Fuck that. And fuck those guys when they did it too. That's just my opinion. I don't like it when wrestlers do that because it is a carny lifestyle. You chose that shit, and the show must go on to a certain extent. You can bitch about it. You can go into business for yourself. All of those kind of things. I'll back up. Be a prima donna backstage, whatever. No sell somebody in the ring. There's lots of ways that you can handle it, but you don't walk out in the middle of a booked show where there's fans in the crowd. Like, you just don't do it. It's paid for. It's bought and paid for. You're paid for the night. You're going out there to do something, period. Mm-hmm. Your name's on the bill. You go out and perform unless you can't because you're hurt, and then they have to write their way out of it. But doing it the way she did, they barely even had time to write their way out of it. And then they just buried her when they did too, and rightfully so. Anyway, let me talk a little bit about AEW. I'm going to go back to Dynamite real quick. Mox defeats Roosh, but that just sucked, especially after Roosh had a great performance at Death Before Dishonor. Mox wants Lionheart Jericho at All Out. We've had Painmaker Jericho. We've had the Wizard. We've got them all. And it was funny because Mox is cutting the promo, basically pointing all of that out, but at the same time giving him another one of those gimmicks back, which I just thought was genius. The promos, by the way, in AEW recently have been so much better than they have ever been.
Yeah.
And by and large, promo work in AEW has been great. I will say this real quick, though, going back to Triple H and Raw, bingo. You want to talk about how to do promos? They had way too much Bayley on the show, but they had to. It's a fucking 3-hour show. But I love how, the interviewer kind of catches Bayley and the other girls backstage, talks to them, and they're walking out. And then the next group of guys comes in, and those guys cut a hot promo. I hate the promos where they go stand on a set and do this thing. And the ones in AEW haven't been working recently either. So, like, fuck that also. Anyway, the in-ring promos have been great at AEW recently.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks beats Danhausen. Hook beats Ricky Starks for the FTW title. Ricky Starks cutting his "My Time Was Last Week" promo was great.
Yeah.
And then the hot shot, turning Hobbs immediately in that moment. It worked. The ratings were up. It was a hot segment. If you look at the numbers, I still feel like it's hot shotting a little bit. And Byron and I talked about it all week of what you do with this and how you can go. Like Byron even kind of called it by saying that, you know, I was joking that Danhausen should win the title and then Hook would be involved. And Byron was just like, I don't know, maybe Hook is the champ or whatever.
No, Danhausen was always like the gateway to Hook to the title.
Right. In some fashion. I just thought it would stop a little bit longer in Danhausen's world. But I look, I like everything that happened here simply for one reason. It is storytelling. It was a little rushed leading up to it, but hotshotting is okay sometimes if you got a good story in mind. I don't know what they're going to do with Hobbs. We don't know if Team Taz is completely dissolved or not. Clearly, Taz seems to be behind Hook now. So what does that mean for Ricky and Hobbs? And, you know, is there a place for them as both singles guys, or do you pair Hobbs up with somebody else? Like, obviously, I think Ricky can be a singles guy. I loved Ricky's promo. I loved cutting it short that way too. Oh, that was the best part of the whole promo. He says, I deserve more than 40 seconds. And then 35 seconds in, literally, was when Hobbs turned on him. I was laughing my ass off. Because I was looking at the timer and I was just like, oh no, he's at 30. Oh! Amazing.
It was so good. It was so good. But and, you know, hopefully we don't have to wait like 2 or 3 shows until this storyline gets cycled back into Dynamite.
No, they got to keep it going. It's a hot angle. Please.
Yes.
We already lost MJF and all these other things. Like
Team Taz is also like one of the more interesting, just all the people individually and together has been one of the more interesting and dynamic, consistently interesting and dynamic aspects of AEW. So it's really cool to see. All right, well, let's see what happens. You know, I think big picture though, I do kind of get nervous that we were discussing this because the AEW, like New Japan and some other companies are faction companies. So you see, like when they did this with Cage, Cage didn't go to another faction. Cage also couldn't cut.
Cage went to a whole nother promotion and then lost his manager.
Yeah,
Cage got nothing.
Cage couldn't cut a coherent promo to save his life against Ricky Starks, right? Which very much did not help him, no matter how many push-ups he can do. So you look at it like, all right, so
cut a promo, but he can't cut that promo. He can't cut a promo against Ricky Starks.
No,
he's a hoss fight promo guy at best.
Yeah, and I mean he's a genuine and nice guy, and that works, but.
He's a complete mensch. He's an awesome, wonderful person. Like anything bad you ever hear us say about Brian Cage is simply for the fact that I believe we all want to see great things happen for him. Yeah. And, you know, he's a very specific kind of guy that's in a weird spot. And it's hard to figure out what you do with a Brian Cage. Like he should be totally over, yet people can't seem to always get him over.
He should be WWE aside from the drug testing.
He's a little small for WWE though.
Yeah,
he really is. He'll look like Gresham over there. He's not that tall. He is a cruiserweight kind of guy. You saw what happened with Pac. Like Pac had his run at WWE, but they can't figure out what to do with guys like that. Like you look at Pac in AEW and he looks hoss. He looks like a fucking heavyweight. In WWE, Pac is not a heavyweight. He really is a cruiserweight. Cage would be too. Hate to break it to you, but like Cage would not cut mustard with the 6'5" guys out there. Baron Corbin's going to look twice the size of Brian Cage in WWE.
Yeah.
You got to be a fucking linebacker over there.
I think though their structure is, we've talked about that, is what would suit Cage best.
Absolutely. Would. Put a gimmick on him, put him with some people, put him in Alpha Academy, let him go, has a 10-year career, and it's great.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do.
I got hopeful when he got paired up with Taz, but then the second Ricky Starks walked on stage with Taz,
it was over. You're like, there's the guy that stole your thunder. Sorry, bro.
But what do you do with these guys? Is Team Taz still Team Taz? Is Hobbs kicked? Is like the straight what we just saw? Does that mean Hobbs is out? Is Taz going to do a swerve and keep Hobbs? And Ricky's out, and however it all lands, where do the extra parts go? And
this is exactly what wrestling's supposed to be. you have 4 completely different questions and theories and queries coming out of a hot angle. It should be that way every week. And when it's not, somebody did something wrong.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you where they did something wrong. I'll tell you what I don't care about the questions too. This weird fucking Hangman Young Bucks backstage thing with the Dark Order. Don't give a fuck.
I like it. I mean, they're going back to old Hangman stuff, but
are they? Do I care? I watched that segment and I was just like, yeah, I get it. And I had no questions, did not care where it went from there.
But there's a lot going on. And I think they also do some stuff on BTE.
Maybe I like all those guys too, and I want to see them get over, but this didn't do it for me.
I saw the trios belts. Well, for me, I saw the trios belts, and I'm like, all right, Kenny's coming back. Kenny and the Bucks. We're gonna do something. And then the Bucks ran into Hangman. So now I'm thinking, oh, what about Kenny? They're trying to do a thing with Hangman. Kenny's gonna be back within a month. He has to be. And now this is gonna be in a way. And of course, there's the whole Adam Cole thing. And then Hangman's friends show up, and now it's a reversal where the Bucks are on the outs and the Bucks
maybe,
are sad.
But this is the kind of stuff in AEW that I could honestly care less about. They don't sell it to me well enough. They don't package it up well enough. The storytelling is very hot-shotty and all over the place. Like Adam Cole, I think, since the dawn of AEW, did the best work with it, and it was pretty much on him alone. Mm. You know, the Bucks were trying to help those segments along. The other tag, Fish and whatever, and Kyle didn't do shit to move the story along at all. It was really 100% Cole. Well, it also fizzled for various reasons, but it's whatever to me. Like, I don't even want to go into it too much because there was another hot in-ring promo that really surprised me for one reason and one reason only. Not that Jungle Boy could actually cut a promo. I'm not surprised. Like, his dad was a phenomenal actor for whatever you think of 90210. A lot of his later acting work was really good. Jungle Boy cut a great promo. I was very surprised that he used the word pussy.
You think he's old enough to use it?
It's a word that doesn't fly on television much at all. Ooh. Even in TVMA shows, you don't see or hear that word. It's like the R word or the N word to a lot of people. And it's very interesting that he got away with it in a tough guy machismo kind of environment like wrestling, because that seems like exactly the place where you would get backlash for using that particular word in that context. This, however, also shows you how good that Christian Cage has been. Nobody cared. Nobody had a problem with Jungle Boy saying it. Nobody had any issue, because that's how much everybody wants to hate Christian Cage right now.
They're like, yeah, I get it.
Everyone was like, nope, you get a pass. You could have called him a Riri. You could have called him, you could have said any number of really dastardly, terrible things that are not acceptable in current society to that man. And we would have all been like, yep, cool. I'm good with that. There's no social justice warrior, nothing. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I did not think that Swerve beating Smart Mark and Tony Nese was interesting. And Josh Woods in the back beating down Keith Lee.
Yeah,
bro, can y'all do better by my dudes? Pretty please. I love Swerve. And I feel like every time Swerve gets a good chance, he's got something going. He's got the charisma. He's got the character down. The in-ring work is on point. Somebody just saddles his storyline with some nonsense, some bullshit. It even happened in Lucha Underground. Like, he would get these great moments and then his story would fizzle, or AR Fox would be hurt, or whatever he was supposed to be doing just wouldn't pan out. Like, he had 2 moments leading up to the Marty the Moth thing and then leading up to the big AR Fox thing. And the AR Fox thing was real spotty because AR wasn't there the whole time. And then whatever, they were in and out of the storyline. Anyway, and nothing at NXT ever worked out for him. Not a damn thing. Not for a fucking second. Like, he was putting in all the work and getting none of the love. Like, he was jobbing into the Imperium and shit. Like, it was just terrible. I felt so bad for him. Yeah. You know, he finally got his faction together, and then they take some of them away. They fired a girl who was like the best thing in the faction with him. Then they gave him some other bullshit. It was just like, God damn, dog. What? Who did you piss off in a former life? He's so good. Anyway, Thunder Rosa defeated Miyu Yamashita, right? Yamashita?
Yeah, Yamashita. Yeah.
Look, I don't like the non-title match thing in a foreign country. I don't like any time a champion has a non-title match. I have issues with it every time. I don't like title eliminator matches in any promotion. I get what they were trying to do. I think that AEW did a terrible job explaining who this person is. I watch wrestling from other countries. I keep up on the indies. I know a whole lot of things about wrestling. I did not know enough about this performer for her to be wrestling for the title on Dynamite.
Yeah.
AEW did nothing to rectify that. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you watched, I mean, I don't know how big of a deal this was on Tony's radar with regards to story. I think as far as like the sport of wrestling, like they did what they did the job. They have the match on Dark, their first match, and it's good. And then they have the rematch, and it's also good. I think the first match was better. A lot of people.
The first match was better. That's the other
Yeah.
sad part about it is so then you're on your main TV show that
Yeah.
has, I don't know, like 800,000 or 900,000 more eyeballs. And you got your champ trying to get her heat back. I didn't think Miyu was actually selling very well for Thunder Rosa. The chemistry felt a little off from what you saw from their first match. Like, in the storytelling, go look it up is not storytelling.
Yeah. No,
And
feel like they
AEW does
could've-
too much of that. I know they have a smarter audience and they want to keep a smart audience, so you can't overdo it like WWE does. But at the same time, man, when you're bringing in anybody from another promotion, there needs to be a package. You need to tell me why this shit matters, why this
should have been
person is at that level.
Well, I mean, really, because like you watch the match, and like for me, I did the work. I was stoked on the match. I was stoked to see Miyu Yamashita do the AEW Dark match in LA. I was like, oh, and with my cheap seats, and I'm squinty down. I'm like, I think I recognize her from TJPW. I went and watched more of her matches, and like I got familiar with what she brings to the table, and that's what they should have done. They should have shown her doing her specific moves too, like do her back wheelhouse kick, whatever, the back heel kick.
And educate your announcers more too.
Show that she did this, and there was no pop for it. There was no specific like, hey, focus. There was no focus on this one move, but she does a high kick to someone on the top rope. Like her legs are like almost like 180 degrees. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen anyone else do that in a wrestling match. Like, that's a big deal. Like, but that also looked like, a hip toss or something, the way it was presented. Like, they needed to introduce her and introduce all the cool things about her, so then you react.
And we know that this shit is possible. At Death Before Dishonor, they did a great job of doing that. And maybe it's just the announce team, or maybe they're not prepping the announce team the right way or something. But they did it there. Shivani was even doing it at the Ric Flair thing.
Yeah.
Like Shivani was explaining backstories of people that were from different promotions because you had 5 different promotions. You had to explain stuff. You don't have the budget to have huge packages on every single guy. And you spent all the money on packages of people saying hi to Ric Flair. So the announce team has to do the work. And they did it. So it's like, we know this shit is possible. And I still just don't understand. And I know that Excalibur's capable of it. I know that Shivani's even capable of it. I'm sure that Taz is. And honestly, Taz has done a great job. We know that Regal is phenomenal at doing it. Like, when we get to this match with this person, don't just tell me why we're having this match over and over again because Miyu beat Thunder before. I get it. We understand that that's what led to this match. That's why you put it on TV. You already told us that in the commercial. Now you need to explain how this matters, sell the moves, why this move set works, why these girls are, and I think that part of the problem was, people didn't like this match that much because the commentary also wasn't distracting from it or leading to explaining to you why these spots were good or why what we're looking for. There was nothing there. And that's all.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the match, but also, but I also I was into it. Like I was meeting it.
I was into it. I was totally into it too. I was just mad because I thought they could have done better by their champ.
I was meeting it more than halfway as well.
You did the work. And that's what Tony Khan expects.
I did the work, which includes watching it during the picture-in-picture during commercial. That stuff doesn't count. Come on.
I mean, I agree with you,
You
and
know?
I always do that. I watch
It's
very intently during the picture-in-picture sometimes. In
And
fact,
I watched the original match, and then I watched the original match with the dark commentary, which is awesome, Taz and Excalibur, and then I watched the Dynamite match, and then I went back and I watched the dark match, their first match, but I watched it with the Japanese announcers, and the first match is just so much better, but the thing that stood out the most to me, I have two things about the whole program. One thing that stands out to me about the rematch is the AEW TV match format just kills big matches for me now. It's just you do a couple stuff before the break, and then heel works it over, works as
well,
you do.
WWE's doing that same thing a ton now too. Like
But-
Raw at least had an hour uninterrupted, but I almost missed the break when that first AJ match or whatever, the three-way. But it's like they both do it now, and it's very
But you always have the
patterned
heel.
and
You always have the heel carry when you're dark.
yeah,
You're just killing time, like
or you bump out and do some other stuff. Yeah,
do
you
some
wrestle.
stuff, but
Yeah,
this is supposed to be part of the show, and it's just such a rigid format. Okay, commercial heel takes over, and that's where you can see like if a heel knows what they're doing. Sometimes we've already said names enough, but like when they get to the spot, they don't know what to do, and the ref has to go and tell them like work them over or something by the railing or whatever.
Yeah.
But like it kills it, and like you might see certain big spots, but it's the heel big spots that they're doing because they're still working a match. And then the face comes back as you come back from commercial, and you do a couple spots, and then you go home to whatever the go home segment is. And it really ruins the flow of a good multi-segment match. At least just don't show us the commercial break,
Yeah,
or
I agree.
And so that's the advantage that the other match had. Was it felt like a long actual
It had a
one
real
match.
flow, and it felt like a good, fun indie pay-per-view level kind of match.
But
Yeah,
I
agree.
have another. But my other thing, like what you're saying, like how come the announcers aren't prepped, the commentators aren't prepped, there aren't sufficient promos to
Because
introduce.
AEW doesn't have any writers.
Or is that a Tony thing? Is that like the producer for that feud? Is that a lack?
I don't know who's
lacking of the
in
producer?
those guys' ear when they're on commentary.
Well, the producer who's
Who's at
producing
Gorilla?
that shouldn't there be a producer who's producing the feud who will put the match together? But there should be someone that isn't Tony that's in charge of that story and that segment, like a producer, coach. That person
Yeah, but also
should be pushing for
whoever's
the
running.
vignette.
But whoever's running the show and whoever you have sitting at Gorilla is supposed to know the layout enough, know the storylines enough, have an information sheet in front of them, and they're supposed to be feeding your announcers.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like a.
I mean,
a-
watch Ric Flair's last match. Clearly, somebody was feeding Tony Schiavone better on Ric Flair's last match than they do on his weekly freaking show.
Yeah, there should be someone doing that. There should also be that person should also like try and push for a better promo, better vignette to introduce this. That it's Yamisha was a top star. She's like the ace of her division.
You've already got me more excited than anything they did on the show to get me excited about her. Because you actually did your homework and you're interested and you know how to talk about it. Those guys did not. Nobody informed them.
Yeah, and someone should be going, no one knows. No one.
Look, people give Schiavone and JR a lot of bad rap. And yeah, they muck it up a lot when they're left to their own devices. But the simple fact of the matter is those guys are both pros. They've done it for a long time. And when you feed them properly, JR came back with Bell's palsy, could barely fucking talk, and they got him through some of the best Raws of his life when he was at the lowest point in his life and when he should have been the most garbage that he's ever been. And now he mumbles his way through stuff and can't get stuff right because nobody's telling him how to get it right.
Yeah. I got a little bit of a little tidbit of backstage info, and I heard that JR does wish that he was still doing 2 hours every Wednesday, but he gets it. but he gets it. He understands, and I do respect that about him.
And honestly, I think he has gotten better doing less. I really do. I think he's more prepared. I think he's actually on his own reading his notes and going over stuff more ahead of time. I like that they're not ringside, so they don't get their notes kerfluffled when there's a spot on their table. You know, like Michael Cole has become the master of like, well, I knew what I was going to say, but now there's no sheet. So, and also Triple H let Michael Cole off the leash, by the way, for the first time in years. Michael Cole asked him immediately, I want to try a couple things. Can I do it? And H said yes. And I don't know if anybody noticed it on pay-per-view or Raw or whatever, but Michael Cole is taking a slightly different approach to some things now. So we'll see. I think we're going to get the best Michael Cole ever. Oh, last match of Dynamite that I got to talk about. Blackpool Combat Club, wrecking shop. Claudio's a champion. Wheeler Yuta's a champion. John Moxley's a champion. The other guy,
Bryan Danielson.
Let's see. Can he beat
this is so good.
Mid-card guy that's on his way up that's not really there? Nope.
Oh God.
Daniel Garcia defeats Bryan Danielson, and people in the crowd were just, it was great booking. I have no problem with this at all. Like, we all know D-Bry's going to get plenty of time. He's going to get big spots, and when Punk comes back, whatever. Bryan Danielson's going to have his best in the world run. Don't worry about it. Tony is way too much of a mark for that not to happen. The whole goal was always to tease people along, to give them CM Punk right off the bat, make him the face of the company, which they needed to do for a lot of different reasons, and then a slow burn to Bryan Danielson being the best in the world. This is the perfect way to start that going again. I don't know how I felt about kind of faking a concussion spot. That was a little maybe in poor taste, maybe not reading the room, Tony, but whatever.
No, that's not a Tony thing. That's purely a Bryan Danielson thing, and it's not the first time he's done that sort of, everyone's concerned about my neck, and he's even admitted this. He's like, everyone's concerned about my neck and head. I'm gonna pretend I broke it again.
Look, it's a carny business, y'all, and that was a super carny thing to do. I thought it was really funny, but with a little help from Mr. Jake Hagar,
a little
help, we got the right finish. We got the right finish, though, Byron. I'm not mad about it. Rampage, whole different story. There's one thing that I really care about, like the Wheeler Yuta call out of Jericho. If he wins, he gets Moxley thing. That's a cluster. Again, if he's calling out Jericho, he has a belt, and I know it's the Pure title, but there should at least be a discussion of like, are we fighting this under Pure rules? Like, give me a reason why it's not for the belt and why it's just for this other stipulation. I hate this shit where title holders are not wrestling for the belt. If you're in a big match and you're a title holder, why the fuck wouldn't Chris Jericho want the Ring of Honor Pure title?
Yeah.
That should have been the first thing out of his mouth. Like, okay, kid, fine, but I want your belt. Like,
isn't that a Lionheart type gimmick? Like, he wants Mox wants the serious wrestler Jericho, right? So what better than to be the Pure champion?
I mean, right? Like, at least storyline wise, and then you can find a way out of it to keep it on Wheeler or whatever you want to do. But the fact that it just wasn't even addressed, the guy, I don't care what level he is, I don't care if it's a B title in another promotion, but you're representing it on your brand. The guy's holding a title. You cannot make a match for that guy and not acknowledge what it means for the belt.
Yeah.
That just pisses me off so much. But here's what I really want to talk about. Anna Jay versus Ruby Soho.
I liked her promo on Dynamite. Like, she normally speaks like really slow, like just both her and Jungle Boy actually turned a corner and spoke with conviction as a real human being with passion on camera.
And here's the thing. Do you know when Anna Jay started wrestling?
Was it 3 years ago?
2018, late 2018. The majority of this woman's career has been during the pandemic.
Yeah.
She hasn't gotten a ton of time, and there a lot of people are giving her shit for them putting her in the JAS. But there's more to it than just her being right for the JAS. The JAS is right for her.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to be in that faction because she has some it factor that could really make something out of her. And there's no other place to put her where she's going to get that real education. It's a faction that gets TV time, that's going to be in hot angles. She is at the level now where she's just got to go out there at least 2 times in a pay-per-view cycle and do the work. But she's got tremendous upside. She listens, she works. They just have to keep finding ways for her to get the time in. And Ty Conti as well. Like, Ty is not bad, but Ty, realistically, as a professional wrestler, she's been an athlete for a long time, but as a professional wrestler, it's only been a few years. And they just have to find time to let them get the work. But Anna Jay is literally the opposite of Marina Shafir. Anna Jay is trying to do things too traditionally, to the point where she's waiting on moves to come to her, and she's really following the other person. She is the complete opposite, polar opposite 180 of Marina Shafir. And it's also to her detriment. She's got to start learning to have a little gumption, to start doing some things on her own, to start being a little innovative with her style and start having a style. She's literally doing wrestling school 101, which is fine. Yeah. It's fine. And she's doing it correctly. She's super safe. No one's going to ever get hurt. Everyone's going to look good when they get to the move, but she's a little off on some of her steps getting there, and she's waiting on people and whatever. She doesn't entirely have the flow yet, but I think her ring psychology and the way that she's doing it in a very traditional style is working. And I think that she's going to have a huge upside. And I didn't even realize how young she is too. She's only like 24 years old.
Yeah, it's wild.
She's got one of those faces where she could be 22 or she could be 32. And like, I'm not even saying that she looks old, but she looks mature. I didn't realize how young she was. I'm like, okay, for 24-year-old, only being in the business for 4 years, and she's conducting herself like that on national TV. Yeah. Great. Huge upside. Go for it.
She was done a little bit of a disservice. I mean, it was very tragic when Brody Lee passed.
I agree.
Very tragic. But with regards to Anna Jay, like, she was nicknamed 99, who, by the way, just to bring everything back to me, as always, I called it out as a Wayne Gretzky reference, the great one. And then like you and Casey are like, no, 99 is boobs upside down or something. It's just, or something like, no, 99 is something else. And it was
Get Smart.
It Get was smart, yeah, I remember Get Smart.
You fashion yourself a comedy writer from time to time, like Get Smart, bro.
No, I know Get Smart, but it was a Wayne Gretzky reference.
Okay, yeah, they're Canadian carnies. I get it.
Because Brody was hockey fan. So anyway, but he gave her that. He got to actually give her the number as opposed to the writers or Tony. She was I don't know if a pet project, but she was a lot of them were like guided by Brody.
Yeah, and they were afterthought people, and then it was genius of saying, like, look, all these people that you think are afterthoughts, let me have them, put them together. We'll do this thing, and they'll all get time, and we'll see where we can go with it. And we can cut angles and do fun stuff. It's
so like she was in a great spot there where she had someone like Brody who had the skill and who had the time and who had the experience to be able and like just the generosity of his personality to actually
in a much smaller roster at the time as well. Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, it like to take her under his wing, and like also
she got in at the right time.
Yeah, and a lot of people were kind of getting set up with like being taken under someone's wing, like Lance Archer, who's someone that we've talked to, got his time with Jake the Snake Roberts, and I don't think they had a separation, but their dynamic is much different now than at the beginning, and so like Archer commands his own, even with Jake Roberts. But Anna Jay has been kind of floundering because she's been doing her thing, and she kind of found a thing tagging with Tay, but she hasn't had someone guiding her, I don't think, at least in the same way. And so, long story short, Jericho has looked after and helped a lot of young talents just in AEW alone, like Britt. You wouldn't have DMD without Jericho. So this is just this is a great opportunity for her. And
look, I don't ever think she's going to be the A++ wrestler either. So it's like, you're great at, you have a future in this, but you got to learn the other side of it too. Like learn the promo skills, learn the crying in the ring, whatever you got to do, like learn the gimmicks. And there is none better than Jericho for that. Like Ric Flair might be the GOAT of being a professional wrestler, but of character work, Jericho might be up there too, man. He's you're talking about the greats of character work. You got Stone Cold, you got The Rock, you got Flair, you got Jericho. Like, but those are the ones.
But look, but
we the ones
on a different level. You look at who out of those has been able to successfully give it to other people too.
Correct.
I think Jericho is the one, because Jericho, he's worked a way where he can keep a seat. It's not leeching, but he knows how to associate and build up other talents. So that way he can keep making money with people.
Even when they're like, he's done it for Kingston right now too. Like Kingston did a lot himself, but Jericho was giving him the format. Jericho is the one playing into Kingston's stuff to make Kingston look like a credible top guy. Here's a guy who was mid-card on the indies, at best most of his career. And Jericho has helped him become a top guy with him just still doing the same stuff that he's always done. Eddie Kingston is not reinventing the wheel. Eddie Kingston's not putting more pepper on it than he did at, CZW for some barbed wire match 5 years ago or whatever. Like he's just doing Eddie Kingston, but Jericho is the one that's like giving it the vehemence and the hate that makes it get over. And he's done that with the MJF. Everyone thinks MJF is the best in the world, but honestly, that stupid run with Jericho that everyone is going to forever say that MJF and Jericho sucked when they were doing that. Nope. That is what made MJF. That stupid gimmick. It helped Orange Cassidy, his Jericho run. His Jericho KO's run helped KO. Like, he's been doing it for the last decade straight, man.
Yeah.
He's really, really something else. All right, Byron.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to
say. Impact was good, I guess. MLW was good. Watch all the shows. Watch Lucha Libre.
Yeah,
we're a Lucha Libre podcast.
We are 100% the number one Lucha Libre podcast. Hey, we talked about the Luchador match at Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah. Hey, is it really a wrestling pay-per-view if Bandito isn't trying to break his neck?
Hey, look.
Does it count?
I don't think he did. He actually managed not to break his or anyone else's neck this time. So,
well, only because Taurus stopped him.
Correct, because Taurus was there to fucking base for everybody again. Taurus is great. Anyway, until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.